Hello, my bookish people. Hello, authortube. I'm here for an update in Preptober. Preptober is the preparation for November of a National Novel Writing Month, where we lucky few, will try and write. We'll write 50,000 words towards a novel in the month of November. I've been encouraged to do this by watching Steve Donoghue's videos. I'll put links down below to his stuff. But through the month of October, he is kind of ingrained. He is ingrained in us, and I was thinking this myself. Is you need to prepare, get yourself kind of warmed up for October. So we're on October the 13th as I film this. So I thought I'd give you a little update of where I'm at, what I've been doing with myself. Well, I guess what I've been doing with myself is I've been getting up every morning at sort of the same time-ish and dragging myself in front of my little phone here and my little my keyboard and writing each day. And just sort of getting to the rhythm of things, doing kind of the prep for my proposed novel with the working title of Underdeep, a fantasy novel set in kind of 80s British Columbia, little valley town being cut off and there being great trouble and of a young boy going to rescue his father. So yes, as I said, I've been getting in the rhythm. Getting up each morning, and actually what I've done is I've made a little file for myself of word count. You'll see that there's some days in there, nothing got done. But as it's going along, it's starting to get a little bit more regular. Word count's going up a bit. I'm not really stressing about word count, but I'm happy to see myself kind of going over the 1,000 mark on each day. And this is all writing to do with that story. So moving on, and I think probably one of the big things for me, other than coming up with a plot for my story, is to get into that habit, saying like, okay, every morning you get up, that this is what works for me. I'm not saying everyone else should. You have to get up in the morning and do this. It's like, for me, I find I get up in the morning, I write at the same time each day. And that's like, I just get a good solid hunk. I'll get a solid hunk of my writing done. And I've been very unsuccessful in some aspects of Nanowrimo in the past. One of the aspects I've been very solid at is actually just doing that habit thing of getting the words in. The quality of the words at the end of the month, not so much. That's why I'm trying to do the plotting, the prepping this time around. But what I have been good at is just like, okay, it's a habit. You just grind it. You just continually do that 1,667 words a day, possibly more. Try and get a little bit more each day. Kind of keep on building up, just so by the end of the month you've got well over 50,000 words. That's what I've found is my experience. Is just you make it a habit. It's boring in that sense, but it's a really useful habit to have as somebody who's a wannabe writer like myself. So as I get along to the story, because I think I'll move along to that so what have I been doing for the last 13 days? I've been working kind of on some stuff is like world building. Like as I thought about the story, it's like, oh, this little valley town, it's been cut off for 2 years from the outside world. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. There would be a lot more chaos. Things would have broken down a lot more. It would be a lot more ugly. And that's not really where I want my story to be at. So I've come up with the idea of, okay, it hasn't been cut off for the whole time, but in about the last 2 weeks, everything is sealed off and it's starting to get really bad. So it's a kind of a further push for, oh, things are getting really bad. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why the father has wandered off. He's gone somewhere. It's like, so it's a good tightening of the screws that things are cut off just now. And so where it's pushing it forward, it's putting the characters under a little bit more, under more pressure. What I did do for the last 13 days though, is I came up with a very, very kind of rough plot. You'll see on the screen here, I came up with about 23 scenes. And I mean, some of the scenes at the beginning are very specific and they probably are individual scenes. Some of the ones at the end are so rough that I can probably break those down into many more scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, basically I've done the whole plot. And guess what? The ending sucks. It's a dumb action adventure-y, dumb ending. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Which is fine because I'm in Preptober. I've done it. I've kind of had my first run through. If I had done this without prep, I would have probably written that entire 50,000 words with that ending. And I'd be just at the end and I'd be like, oh, that's dumb. And I would have said, oh, okay, I have to toss it all and start over again. And would have gotten nowhere. At least that's my hopeful theory. So what I'm going to do for my next number of however many more days I have, I'm bad at math, 31 minus 13. Math here. What I'm planning on doing is, okay, I don't like that ending. What do I not like about that ending? What ending do I want? What ending do provisionally, it's always provisionally, nothing is written in stone, but what's an ending? What's a better ending? And try and come up with better endings to my story. Where does it kind of go off the rails and things like that? That's what I'm hoping all this preparation, all this plotting will help me with. I also actually, one of the really useful things I found, at least doing this, is I was sort of struggling at the beginning. It's like, well, how do the father and son have a connection? And it wasn't like, oh, well, they're father and son, so of course they have a connection. But like, how am I going to, how am I going to dramatize that? How am I going to show that? And actually, I found in my dumb failed ending, it's like, oh, actually, I found something in there that's like, oh, that made me think of a scene that I can put at the very beginning of my story. That will put a good connection in, and hopefully if I come up with a good ending, I can also put the echoes of that in the ending, and everyone will think I'm a genius, right? I'm going for middling hack. We'll go for middling hack, and I'll be very happy. So yeah, so that's so far that has been the benefits of my complete and utter failure. Is that it isn't a complete and utter failure. That it's like, oh, I came up with a bad ending. Okay, well, let's find a good ending. And okay, I guess finally I should just kind of lay down some goals. We're doing this to sort of share with each other, all us struggling authors out there, wannabe authors like myself, how we're dealing with Preptober. And so I'll do number one is I'll check in next Sunday and let you know how I've been doing the next week over the thing. Come up with an ending. Just let's figure out a ending as something that I can then work. I can set down the scenes to work towards. So I have something to write towards at the end. And 3, coming up with the tone and the voice and the point of view for the story. I guess those are things that I should come up a point with. In the back of my head, my thing is, well, I'm telling this from the point of view of the young guy, 12, 13-year-old Alec, who's going to search for his father. But so coming up with, it's probably going to be a third person limited. Maybe I should experiment with a first person and just sort of see how that makes the story feel, because that's something I'm definitely going to want to have nailed down before I launch into writing on November the 1st. You don't want to have to like, oh crap, I don't know how I'm actually oriented. I think that's going to be a major thing of preparation. All right, so I think I've nattered enough. That's my check-in. I will see you next week. More videos later.